In case you want to start your journey as a freelancer, in this video, I'm going to share some lessons I've learned over the past 6 years that I've been on my freelance journey. Hi, I'm Adeni. I'm a social media manager and freelancer for the past 6 years, like I said earlier. I've learned a lot of lessons over the past 6 years doing this. I started part time when I was in the university, and now I've been doing this full time for about 2 years now. So, here are the six main lessons I've learned during that time that have made the biggest change in my journey. The first lesson is that it's going to take time. So, this is something I feel like a lot of people get wrong with freelancing. So many people have this wrong expectation that when they start today, they're going to be able to make money in the next 30 days or the next 60 days. Myself, it took me about 8 to 12 months before I was even able to get my first clients on Fiverr back then when I started. I was using Fiverr. And like I said, it took me 8 to 12 months to see any traction. And this also depends, obviously, on the platform you're using. If you are creating your own opportunities with social media referrals or something like that, for instance, it can definitely happen faster for you. But if you're going to a competitive platform like Upwork, this is definitely going to take time. So I always like saying freelancing is not something that is for you if you need money very fast. That's just the sad fact. It's much better for you to give it the time it needs, at least 6 months. Because if you try to rush it, you're going to make a lot of mistakes that might cause problems for you in the long run. You might use the wrong strategies, the wrong methods that won't let you build something actually long term. So if you want to build something long term, then you need to be able to give it the patience it needs. Like I said earlier, freelancing is not short term. If you need some money fast, this is probably not what you need right now. I would much recommend you get maybe a stable job and then try to do this part time in the start. I feel like starting part time is the right way to go so you don't put too much pressure on it. Because if you put too much pressure on it, put too much pressure on yourself, you try to rush to make the money as soon as possible, you're likely not going to be able to grow to the point you want to. Now, with the right coaching, with the right guidance, obviously you can cut down on this time a lot. When I started, I was just figuring it out myself, which is why it took me that 8 to 12 months period. But even if you have coaching, like I said, you will still take just say 3 to 6 months and just be ready for that and be prepared not to make much or any money during that time. So just give it the time you need, especially if you're a newbie, you have a lot of skills you need to learn. So just focus on learning those skills first. So the second lesson I want to share today is simply the fact that your first client or your first couple of clients are likely going to underpay. This follows the first point I said earlier, but when you're just starting out, there are a lot you need to learn, and you also need to understand, obviously, the competition in your industry. If you're a graphic designer or a web designer, for instance, depending on where you try to get your leads from, let's say you are using Fiverr or Pop, for instance, who are already on these platforms, there are a lot of people that are already successful. So if you just jump there as a newbie, you need a way to set yourself apart from them because you might be just as skilled as them, but they have social proof on these platforms, they have trust, especially if you are from a country like I am, a Nigerian. So if you're Nigerian as well, we already start off with very little trust with most people because of our bad reputations. So you need something to be able to put these clients at ease. And the best way to do that is to offer some kind of discount at the start of your journey. So let's say your typical fee is maybe $500 or something like that. When you first get started, especially if you're using a freelance platform, like I said, go for 50% of your original price. So like I said, if you are charging $500, that's your standard fee for like a specific deliverable, try to offer it for 250 or something like that. Because this will allow you to get some people to take the first step with you, which will allow you to build reviews on these kinds of platforms like Upwork and Fiverr and the rest. Again, if you are creating your own opportunities, if you're using social media and you have referrals especially, you don't need to do this if you're doing something like referrals because the person referring you has already acted as that medium for trust. If the clients trust that person, then they should trust you as well. So you don't need this for referrals, but for most of the things you do, especially if like you've not had any previous interaction with this person, this is someone that's completely cold. Yeah, just offering your services at a discounted rate at the start will be the best thing you can do. Obviously, the goal is not for you to stay like this forever, just for the first couple of people, maybe the first one or two or three people. Offer your services at a discounted price to them. And then as you get more repetition on the platform, as you get reviews, as you have case studies and all those other things, you can raise your prices back up steadily and even beyond what they were before. So if you started at 500 as your original price. You can even go beyond that basically. So the third lesson is to focus on learning as much as you can. The biggest mistake I've seen a lot of early freelancers make is basically not focusing on learning enough. And let me explain what I mean by that. So obviously, I think you should know that you need to get better at your skill. You need to learn the skill you're currently offering. So if you're a graphic designer, if you're a web designer, you need to get better at that skill. But that's not all. You also need to get better at the skill of being a freelancer and of getting business. And there are two totally different things. You could be very good at graphic design, but you could suck at getting leads, getting clients, because there are a lot of skills you need to learn. And the problem with them as well is they're very platform specific. So if you're using Upwork to get leads, for instance, to get new clients, you need to know how to write a good profile, how to structure your proposals, how to close on the calls or the interviews the clients will book with you. So there are a lot of skills you need to learn with that. And if you only have your core skill, which is the graphic design, the web design, which you're offering, you will not find success. That's what separates those who are successful from those that are not. It's just how well do they know these other skills that are very important. And like I said, they are platform specific as well. So when I got started, I had my start on Fiverr, then I got started on my freelance journey. But after a few years of being on Fiverr, they removed their buyer's request section. And that was where a lot of my new clients were coming from, actually. So I moved because of that to Upwork. Now, Upwork is a completely different game from Fiverr. Even though you might think, for instance, the buyer requests and the proposal sentence are quite similar, but they are very different as well. The things you would include in a proposal are not the same things you'd include in the buyer's request, and vice versa. So each of these platforms, whatever way you get leads, wherever way you get new clients, there are skills you will need to learn. But generally, they will be about generating the leads, qualifying them to make sure they are the right people, and closing them on some kind of interview or sales call. But regardless of the platform, you need to get very good at these skills, and you need to make sure you're constantly learning them, because even just closing alone is a whole other conversation that would take you maybe months or even years to learn. So you just need to keep learning. So you can't just say, oh, I'm a graphic designer and that's all I know. No, that's not enough to stand out and to get results. You need to be able to learn your skills, because at the end of the day, what you are building is a freelance business. And as a business owner, there are skills that you need to learn no matter what. Like those three that I mentioned earlier: generating leads, qualifying them, and closing them. No matter what, you need to learn how to do that. Number four, instability is normal. Prep for it. So the biggest thing about this freelance thing is that it really comes in ups and downs. And what that means is you might have some good months, you will have some bad months. It's just part of the game. And you need to know that and prep for it accordingly. There are ways you can mitigate this. One of the biggest being selling retainers, like services that are retainers that people keep coming back to you for. For instance, like as a social media manager like me, you can have a monthly retainer where you offer your clients a specific number of posts, or maybe you're an email marketer, you help them write a specific number of emails or things like that. If you don't have that, you will still experience this ups and downs. They're just normal. Some clients will leave, some will come. A platform that might have been working for you, like I talked about the Fiverr example earlier, it was working well for me. Then they changed something in their platform and I went to zero the next month. So it's very unstable like that. So you need to prep for it. You need to think ahead and think, okay, this is a good month. Maybe you're making 3K or 5K this month. But you need to think, okay, what will happen if maybe I drop to 1K for the next month? And this is also why you need to make sure you're consistently generating new leads, not only when you need business, but also even when you are, let's say when you are busy, you need to find some time to see, get some more leads, because you need a healthy pipeline of people that want to work with you, so that you can minimize basically how much this happens to you. But regardless, you will not be able to completely eliminate it. This is just normal. So you just have to be comfortable with that. So the fifth lesson now is to choose the right clients. I talked earlier about like when you jump on these freelance platforms, you might need to offer a discounted price at the start. But it's very important that you don't get stuck in this, and that as you get more experience, you build your case studies, you not only charge more, but you also pick better clients. And when I better clients, I don't say dream clients because that's overused, but pick dream clients in that sense. You don't want to pick just the people that will pay you best, because there are certain people that, yeah, they'll pay you a lot of money, but they'll have certain expectations about that. There are people that maybe they'll be calling you or they'll be sending you Slack messages on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning or something like that. So you need people that will respect your boundaries and that will actually appreciate the work you're doing, because if you want peace of mind, you need to have the right clients. You need peaceful clients. No amount of money is worth for BMRT clients, and that's just the fact. Now, obviously, it's easy to say this when you have a lot of clients or when you already have some money. So if this is your first client, you might just need to close your eyes and work with them regardless and just push through that. But if you have options, let's say you have 3 people you're working with or 4 people you're working with, and a new person wants to come on, and during the interview process or during all that, they're already showing you they were quite problematic or that they are condescending during the interview process or they are making ridiculous demands from you. It's much better to preserve your peace of mind. There are a lot of clients out there. If you're good at your craft and you are not in too much of a rush, you can find the right people that will appreciate you, that will thank you, and that'll be great to work with, that you want to work with for the long run. But don't make decisions about the kind of clients you work with solely based on money. Obviously, money is important. So obviously think about the amount they're paying you as well. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your experience level and all that? But don't let money be the only thing on your mind, because it's much better to work with $700 clients that really appreciate you, that doesn't make unreasonable demands, that knows, okay, I will not message you on weekends and expect a response, rather than let's say $1,000 clients that wants to jump on 3 calls with you every single day, that messages you on Sunday morning and asks, oh, why didn't you reply on time or things like this. The money is not worth a loss of your peace of mind. So just keep that in mind. And 6, the final lesson is to just make sure you raise your rates continuously. Like I said earlier as well, you might want to start off with a reduced fee to get your first few clients, but after that, make sure you're constantly raising your rates as you get more experience, as you get more case studies, as you get more reviews on whatever platform you're using if you are using a freelance platform. Another thing I did want to mention earlier when picking clients is that there are certain clients that it's just great to work with them because they will help you learn those business skills I talked about earlier, which are important. For instance, I work with a lot of coaches and I like working specifically with business coaches because when you work with those kinds of business coaches, for instance, since I'm a social media manager, most times I'll need access to content about them and all these other things that really make me learn how they work with their clients as well. And all those things will improve my own skills as well because I'll learn, okay, how they qualify their clients, how they do their sales calls, all these other things. So I'm able to see behind the scenes of their business and learn from them in that way, basically. So it's just a win when I get paid, yes, but I also learn, so I get paid for learning. And this will also offset the whole fear of, oh, you don't want to work for a reduced fee. If you pick the right clients, yes, you may work for a reduced fee, but you will learn skills that will pay you off more in the long run. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, those are 6 lessons I have learned in the past 6 years as a freelancer. If you like this video, drop a comment and subscribe. Yeah, subscribe, the most important one. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. And before I close out every video, I want to make sure I'm dropping a quote for you. And the quote for today's video is, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So I'll see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.